Ladies and gentlemen, who is the greatest Slayer Master in OSRS? Who's king? This is a tier list we actually did about a year ago, and so I'm so excited to be running it back. And a few factors that we're going to be considering is one, is their task good? Are they crap? What's the GP per hour? And what's the XP per hour? Is this someone that's slept on? Maybe they even have some tasks you guys really don't use. If you do like this, please do leave a like or leave a comment of suggestions of what you think I could have done better. Because yeah, I am an Iron Man. I'm actually a Slayer locked Iron Man. So take all this with a grain of salt, but I really do enjoy all the discussion we have on these tier lists. And also tell me another tier list you'd like to see us do in the future. I really do enjoy making these. And so without further ado, let's subscribe and let's jump on into this tier list. So we're kicking it off today with Turel. And yeah, it is F to S. I think that's pretty standard. If you guys haven't seen a tier list before, welcome to 2025. Can't believe you guys have never seen one. So Turel is the first Slayer Master you're ever going to meet. He's over here in Taverley. It actually has a really cool namesake too, that in case you guys didn't know that. But yeah, what's so great about him and his sister Aya, and by the way, Aya is someone that you're only ever going to see way down the road, is that they have the most easiest tasks known to man. You will make no money here. You will really make no XP here. But they have a thing called Turael skipping. So if you get a task later on in the game from somebody that you don't like it's too hard, run your little legs as fast as you can over here, and then you can go about resetting it. You will lose your streak, which we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And for the sake of Aya just being look at her, come on man, she's going higher. But basically you can skip your tasks with him, and that's pretty much it. So really would say he's good old-fashioned basically mid. But now let's talk about Spria. So also a relative to Turel, and kind of cool, she lives over here, which this is actually over in Draenor Village, which is related to the guy that runs all of Mauritania. Kind of sick. I'm putting her in C tier. I think I had her higher last year, but you can't Turel skip with her. Her tasks are exactly the same, identical to Turel's, but you can't Turel skip. The only difference is that she's got access to these guys, which is actually a decent moneymaker for a very low level account, but they are a little thick. They're a little hard to kill. It's about 700 GP per kill. So let's talk next about Mashner, which apparently that is the right way to say it. I apologize if I've been saying their names wrong all of this time. And yeah, also gets replaced when he dies later on in Gothic Sleep. So these two, which again, Mashner got some new upgrades of gear relatively recently. He actually does have a lot of unique assignments that you're never going to see if you're not really coming to him. So all in all, not bad. He does give you points. 2 points, which actually sucks. If you're coming here for points, don't waste your time. His tasks are really a waste of time. There's a few shining ones in here, maybe killing hot hill giants, crabs, which has been recently added. Skeletons obviously are nice, but beyond that, really nothing special. You're not going to make a lot of money, but I would say because he gives points, he deserves to be higher than Spria. I think that's fair. Maybe you guys are going to sue me on that. And just for the fact that he's a little bit more iconic than his little brother demon guy here, and also looks a little cooler, I'm putting him higher on the list. Again, has some unique tasks. I would not really recommend, obviously, ever doing him at really any level. Even as a low level, you're pretty much should just stick to somebody like Turel until you get your stats a little bit higher. I think that's enough. So let's talk next about Vannyman. So he lives over here in Edgeville. Obviously, Edgeville is iconic. The amount of memories I've had over the years here. And he's the guy that you meet on Tutorial Island. I used to have such a love for this guy. But let me tell you, I actually think he's one of the biggest noob traps in the game, man. For one, he's only giving you 4 points, so it really isn't that good. And secondly, honestly, his tasks aren't anything special. He's starting to give you a few that can make you some money, like these guys. But obviously, if you're killing these things, you probably should be over at a better Slayer Master. So I'm actually throwing him down here in F because I do think he's kind of a noob trap. I fell for him as a kid back in the day. And honestly, I just kind of hate him because of my Slayer series. If you've been watching, you know why. But is this me being too hard on him? I know you guys maybe want him up here in C. But I don't know, man. I think I kind of like Mashner even over him more. But again, you can make more money with Vanny. So if I wasn't being such a hater on him, he probably should be higher. He is a cool dude. He is cooler than him. But if I'm going to give F tier to anybody, it's going to be him or Spria. And so that's why I think Spria is just barely above him, but only barely. I don't know. Let's move on. So, we're going to talk about Chandler here, who lives over here in Xanaris. If you guys didn't know this place actually existed long before our little fairy friends came along. Also, Chandler or Shalder, sorry, I couldn't figure out how to pronounce this. I've still been butchering this for ages, and I've been surprised nobody has corrected me. I'm going to say basically mid. Obviously, you get like pretty solid points here. If you do 3 tasks, you're essentially canceling out a skip. Does also have access to some solid money makers, which is pretty nice. Like really your first real, I would say, Slayer Master, honestly. And of course you get access to the Kraken. So really, like, not too bad. You're going to get fairy rings anyway. So it's not even like the quest requirement of getting Lost City is even that hard. So like, honestly, I love this like set of tasks here. There's a few annoying ones for sure, but they kind of exist with everyone else anyway. So really like kind of slept on Slayer Master. I could even see putting them higher than Turael. But again, I got flamed a bit by saying that Turel skip doesn't matter. Just because it doesn't matter to me. I know so many of you do like that. And so that's where I'm kind of struggling on where they should fall here. Definitely in the mid. I would say honestly, like again, a Slayer Master that once your stats are like waterfall like equivalent, you could start going here. Obviously getting your combat level and you know Slayer level higher, but money not too bad. Points actually really good. This is the first time you should really start to care about your points. You're not making points off of Annika. You're not making points off of Mashner. So let's skip to someone who's one of the all-time greats and maybe GOATs of Slayer, honestly, is Konar. Added in 2019, really changed OSRS like forever. Controversial at first, but I would say I love Konar now. I'm so excited by the fact that, for one, second best points in the game. And secondly, really unique because what you get assigned is not only a monster, but a location as well. So you can make anywhere from like 2 to maybe 5 mil an hour, and you're able to earn Brimstone Keys. You get to fight this bad boy, the Alchemical Hydra, the only person that can assign it, so sufficient to say worth it. And anyway, sufficient to say really solid money making here. Great tasks, a few that are maybe annoying, a few locations for sure that are a little annoying, and of course you can get assigned some tasks that maybe aren't cannibal or that you can't use like, you know, like Ancients efficiently because it's maybe not multi. So maybe that's what's going to hold her back from the S tier, but I really do love Konar. If this was just me speaking, I could even see me putting her up in S tier. I really do think S tier should really only be reserved for one person when there is obviously, you know, like this few people in the tier list. But what do you guys think? Should Konar be higher, be lower? Do you guys hate Konar? Do you never use them? I really would say this is where you're starting to get to that mid to end game setting, and that if you don't mind going to some odd locations, well worth it. Amazing money that you can start to make. This is where Slayer really starts to become profitable, and so sufficient to say amazing is well deserved of a title. But now, man, we got to talk about the iconic Neve and Steve. Actually a part of 16 people in their family. 10 of them are in-game that we are aware of or referenced. And so, yeah, for one, you can see here that I think she deserved her own little icon. Sorry, you know, Steve, don't really care about you, man. We're just going to throw you down here, buddy. It's a bummer that she had to die. It's cool that she died on her own quest, and I won't say any more in case you guys care about the lore. But yeah, sufficient to say, pretty solid Slayer points of 12, so less than Konar, but you're not locked to any one location. Pretty solid tasks. And of course, one of the best ones is being able to go and kill these stupid spiders or Araxites that have been added relatively recently, actually. You can make some solid money there. Noxious Halberd. Really, all in all, very well-rounded set of tasks that obviously most of them are relatively easy to get to. Also, one of the quickest Slayer Masters that you can get back to for assignments. So I would really say big fan of her. Obviously people think she's iconic for a reason, so I would say A tier, but you are getting less points. You're not getting access to something like Brimstone Keys, so that's where I just struggle to put her higher. But maybe I'm being a total noob right now and she should be higher. Maybe some of you would even say she's S tier. I don't know. I would say again, like, does assign bosses, which is great. So does Konar as well, but it's just not quite as good as it could be. But let's talk about the wilderness, man. Some of you are terrified of it. I know I was, man. Anytime you see that skull on the map, you're like running for your life, unless you can anti-PK. And if you can, I'm so jealous of you. But yeah, now let's talk about Krystilia. I wanted to show the wilderness for her because that's where you do all of your tasks. So similar to Konar, that Konar sends you all around the world for specific locations. Krystilia is different, that she's sending you only to the wilderness. And so with that, being in the wilderness, there is some really amazing tasks here. You can make some really good money, and it's the best points in OSRS, which is huge. So I guess that's really my question for you guys is, like, are you terrified of the wilderness, or do you feel comfortable in it? Can you even PK? There is a lot of great things about the wilderness, especially in OSRS compared to RuneScape 3. RuneScape 3, it's basically a dead thing. They've been trying to save it. But over here, you can make some mad money. PKing is actually fun and relevant in this game. And like, yeah, some tasks like the magic axes, like, let's forget about that. But sufficient to say, I think really could be top of A tier. So that means S tier is being left for Duradel, man. Obviously he's gonna die off as well, and so that's why he's gonna get replaced. But hey, Shiloh Village, you do have to have access to that, so a little bit of a, you know, harder quest to get to compared to everyone else. You also have combat and Slayer matter for the first time for your Slayer Master. But yeah, sufficient to say, you are going to get fed XP here. The tasks are all longer. They're all like arguably like they either can be barrage, they can use a cannon there. You can get signed bosses due to the fact that he has a higher weighting more here. So all in all, Duradel is just very good for endgame Slayer. But of course, you have to like the tasks. If you get assigned 200 Hellhounds and you freaking hate Hellhounds, then you're wasting your time. You know, maybe you're not going to be a big fan of him. I really love Duradel. I think he's a really cool guy and really like peak point of Slayer, and it's one of those things why he is like the last Slayer Master and why he gives you the Slayer cape. So really, that leaves us with who's better, him or his daughter Turael. I would say, like, for one, she just looks more human, which is kind of cool. I don't know, he always freaked me out as a kid, but maybe it was because of his claws. But he's just kind of more iconic, you know, which is nice. And I do think he's got that like almost peaceful vibe to him, even though he is a Slayer Master. But yeah, how do you guys think we did? What do you think of the rest of this tier list? Now, it's definitely a big update from before. This is, in my opinion, the best overall way to go. But I would love to hear all of your thoughts. I have loved doing Slayer. It's still my favorite skill in the game. And yeah, if you want to join us on our Slayer Lock series as we're going for the untrimmed Slayer cape, I'd love to have you. Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.